Hello, I'm an engineer at Cloud4U, an enterprise cloud provider. Welcome to our training course. In this video, we will tell how networks are organized in the Cloud Director virtual infrastructure. The basic elements underlying the virtual network infrastructure of the Cloud Director are virtual data center networks. These networks allow the interaction of virtual machines with each other and their connection to the internet and the customer's remote networks. The organization of the VDC networks are divided into three types: isolated, rooted, and direct. Isolated network is the simplest network. Figuratively, it can be represented as a virtual switch to which VMs are connected, respectively VMs and such a network to be able to exchange traffic with each other. This is where its functionality generally ends. Among the available services in this network, there is only DHCP server allowing virtual machines to obtain addresses dynamically. The main advantage of such networks is their isolation from external networks and consequently the possibility to access them from the outside. Rooted network is a basic type of network used in a virtual infrastructure. Rooted network is an isolated network to which the edge gateway is connected. A virtual router, part of the network subsystem of the VMware platform. It is managed through the vCloud Director interface and ensures the connection of the virtual network to the internet and other networks, both external and internal. In this diagram, we see that two virtual networks are connected to the edge gateway, which can exchange traffic with each other and have access to the internet. They also have access to the remote office network through the IPsec VPN tunnel built from the router. Any isolated network can be created routable by connecting it to the edge gateway. Direct network is a special kind of network designed for specific tasks which require a direct connection of virtual machines to the network infrastructure located outside the virtual data center. In fact, it is a connector between the virtual network and a specific VLAN of the physical switch to which the infrastructure of the cloud service provider is connected. Due to obvious security reasons, the creation and configuration of such networks is not available to customers and performed by specialists of the provider. Let's consider the purpose of such networks using the following example. Cloud4U offers its customers virtual infrastructure deployment into geo-distributed data centers. This allows customers to build cluster systems with a high level of fault tolerance, ensuring the availability of services even if one of the data centers fails. In terms of the network scheme, it looks like this. Each data center has a customer's virtual data center and hosts virtual machines of the cluster, which are connected to a direct network combined with a dedicated VLAN of the provider's switching equipment. This VLAN is located with the high availability optical ring and provides fault-tolerant connection between the customer's VMs in different data centers. In addition, the edge gateway is connected to these networks in the virtual data center with a configured load balancer, directing requests from the internet to the active cluster node in normal mode and, in case of its failure, to the standby cluster node in another data center. This scheme ensures availability of services both in case of failure of one of the elements as well as in case of complete failure of one of the data centers. Let's take a closer look at the virtual edge gateway. It is the core element of a routable network. This is a specific virtual machine which is managed by means of the Cloud Director interface. According to their performance, they are divided into compact, large, quite large, and extra large. These deployment models differ in the number of computing resources available to the router and accordingly the number of network connections, firewall, rules, and VPN tunnels provided by one or another deployment model. Cloud4U provides customers with a one compact model edge gateway with one external static IP address and internet bandwidth of 5 megabit per second without additional charges as a part of its cloud service. In the past, edge gateway routers were also divided into standalone and advanced according to the type of management interface and functionality. Standalone is designed for the obsolete vCloud Director interface based on flash technology. Nowadays, it is practically not used and has no advanced features of site-to-site IPsec VPN tunnels, load balancer, configuration of SSL VPN client connections. Currently, all edge gateways provided by our company are advanced and have no limitations in functionality. Let's take a closer look at the features provided by the virtual edge gateway router. The first is a built-in firewall that allows you to filter traffic between the internal networks of the virtual data center, as well as to control access to external networks. The logic of the firewall is as follows. An incoming packet is checked against a list of rules from top to bottom until the first matching rule is found, after which the packet is either rejected or allowed through. If no matching rules are found, the last default rule, usually a denial rule, is applied, rejecting all traffic that is not protected. It is also possible to configure a DHCP server on the edge gateway to give a virtual machine's dynamic IP addresses and networks assigned to them. This can be useful when the virtual machine operating system is not supported by standard vCloud directed tools and manual configuration of IP addresses is not desirable for some reason. Here are the rules of IP addresses translation divided into source NAT, translation of outgoing requests to the Internet from VMs, and destination NAT for access from the Internet to certain services provided by virtual machines. For example, a dedicated rule indicates that on the external IP address, the internal address is 192.168.10.4 and the SSH service is opened on it. To interact with the remote client networks accessible via dedicated provided channels on the edge gateway, separate routing rules can be configured. Routing can be both static and dynamic via OSPF protocols. This allows you to build fault-tolerant redundant communication channels to remote networks. The edge gateway also allows you to configure a load balancer, which defines incoming requests on different virtual machines from the server pool. The function is used to build fault-tolerant service such as application service, terminal service, etc. One of the most demanded functions of the edge gateway is building secure tunnels with remote customer networks via the Internet using the IPsec protocol. The edge gateway supports the most secure encryption protocol AES and is compatible with network equipment from Cisco, MikroTik, Juniper, and many others. Also, in the case of a tunnel with another edge gateway, there's a proprietary L2 tunnel mode, which allows the tunneling of networks with a shared address space without routing. Through the edge gateway, it is possible to provide secure remote access to cloud resources for employees using SSL VPN technologies. VPN clients are available for operating systems, Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. This tab is for installing user certificates in the edge. This is required when using the load balancer for HTTPS and similar services. This tab is used for making groups of addresses and services and required for firewall optimization to reduce their quantity. On the Statistics tab, you can view the number of connections processed by the router during different time intervals and view the current status of IPsec VPN tunnels. The last tab is used if you need advanced diagnostics of the router when configuring services. It allows you to redirect the event log of the edge gateway to an external syslog server and get remote access to the router console via SSH. So, in this part, we've covered the networks that exist in the vCloud Director and the functionality of the built-in edge gateway routing. I would also like to remind you that our company website has a continuously updated knowledge base covering various aspects of configuring the vCloud Director platform, including networks and routers. Thank you for your attention.